The galaxy was vast, and the aliens that inhabited it were powerful, fierce, and proud. They had conquered countless worlds, each more advanced than the last. They believed nothing could stand in their way. And they were right, until they encountered humanity. The first signs of humanity's presence reached the aliens through a distress signal. It came from a warship, an old ship, the Vanguard, a relic from a time when humans were still fighting among themselves on their homeworld. The message was simple. We are here. Do you dare approach? The aliens laughed. A human warship. No threat. They assumed it was a mistake or a trap, but it was too late to ignore. The ship had already entered their space. At first, the aliens only watched, amused by the audacity of this tiny, outdated ship. Surely it was no match for their advanced fleets. The humans, they thought, were nothing more than a nuisance. But as the Vanguard drew closer, something about the ship started to unsettle them. It wasn't just a ship, it was moving with purpose. It wasn't just seeking shelter, as they expected. It was heading straight toward the heart of their territory. The Vanguard's captain, Admiral Ethan Williams, stood at the command bridge, staring out at the stars ahead. His crew was ready for whatever would come. This wasn't a fight they had chosen, but it was one they would finish. His ship wasn't just any ordinary warship. It was a masterpiece of human ingenuity. Despite being built with outdated technology, it had been retrofitted with the best humanity had to offer, making it a force to be reckoned with. The alien fleet, led by General Threx, had been monitoring the Vanguard for hours, but they were still unconcerned. "This ship is nothing," General Threx muttered to his officers. "It will be easy to crush. Prepare the fleet." As the Vanguard closed in on the alien fleet, the tension in the air was palpable. The human crew was prepared for battle, but their minds raced with the unknown. No one had ever dared challenge the alien empires before. What would happen when their weapons met? What would happen when a single human ship faced against an armada of alien warships? Admiral Williams' voice broke through the silence. "Target their largest ship. All weapons on my mark." His crew nodded in unison. They didn't need to be told twice. They had all seen what the aliens had done to others, to weaker races that had dared to defy them. But the humans weren't weaker. They had learned from their past mistakes, and they had prepared for this moment. The alien fleet prepared to launch their own strike, confident in their superiority. Their weapons were powerful, their ships fast and strong. They moved with precision, positioning themselves in a perfect formation to annihilate the human ship. The Vanguard, however, was different. It wasn't about brute force, it was about strategy. The first shot came from the Vanguard. A single, sharp beam of energy shot through the cold void of space, hitting the lead alien ship directly in its core. The impact was immediate. Explosions ripped through the alien vessel, sending it into a deadly spiral. The aliens were stunned. How could this small ship, this outdated piece of machinery, cause such destruction? General Threx's jaw dropped as he watched his flagship's demise unfold on the view screen. "Return fire," he roared, but it was already too late. The Vanguard wasn't finished. It fired again, another laser slicing through the darkness, hitting a second alien ship. The Vanguard was faster, its shield stronger than the aliens had anticipated. Its weapons were precise, each shot landing where it needed to. The aliens scrambled to respond, but their fleet was already in chaos. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Admiral Williams watched as the battle unfolded. His heart pounded, but he remained calm, focused. This was what they had trained for. They couldn't afford to falter now. The first strike was just the beginning. Now they needed to finish it. The human crew worked together flawlessly, executing maneuvers that confused and overwhelmed the alien fleet. They anticipated every move the aliens made, and they countered with brutal efficiency. As the alien ships attempted to retaliate, their attacks fell short. Their energy blasts were blocked by the Vanguard's powerful shields, and their attempts to encircle the human ship were thwarted by its unmatched speed. The Vanguard was a ghost in the void, darting in and out of the alien fleet with the precision of a predator. Alien after alien ship fell. The aliens, for the first time in their long history of dominance, were in disarray. They had never encountered anything like this. On the bridge of the Vanguard, a quiet murmur spread among the crew. "They're retreating," one of the officers whispered in disbelief. It was true. The alien ships that hadn't been destroyed were now turning tail, fleeing from the humans. It was a sight no one had ever expected. The mighty alien empire reduced to retreating in fear of a single human warship. The Vanguard didn't give chase. There was no need. They had made their point. The message had been sent. The aliens had been defeated, utterly. But the humans weren't done yet. As the last of the alien fleet disappeared into the void, Admiral Williams turned to his crew. "Prepare for what comes next," he said quietly. "This isn't over." The message was clear. The Vanguard had shown the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. What had started as a simple distress call had turned into a galactic shockwave, sending ripples across the stars. The aliens were not the only ones watching. Other species, other empires, were now aware of the humans. In the wake of the battle, questions began to swirl. How had a single human ship with old technology managed to destroy an alien fleet? What secrets did humanity possess that the galaxy had yet to uncover? The battle was over, but the war had just begun. And so, as the stars continued to shimmer in the vast emptiness of space, a new chapter in galactic history began, one where humanity was no longer a mere footnote in the annals of the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, and the aliens had learned the hard way. You do not underestimate mankind. The shock of that first encounter would echo through the galaxy for centuries to come. The aftermath of the Vanguard's unexpected victory left the galaxy in a state of disbelief. Alien fleets scattered in retreat, leaving the once proud empire of the Galactic Alliance questioning their superiority. The Vanguard, a ship made from old human technology, had done what no one thought was possible, destroying their best fleets with ease. Yet the aliens, though shaken, were not done. They would not let such an insult go unanswered. Back in the heart of the Galactic Alliance, General Threx paced nervously in his war room. The Vanguard's attack was not just a failure, it was a humiliation. Threx had been certain that the human ship would fall with ease, but now he faced the reality of their power. His once indomitable fleet had been shattered by a mere handful of humans. The alien commanders, their pride wounded, gathered in the council chamber. They discussed strategies and plans, trying to determine how to deal with the human threat. Despite their confidence in their advanced weaponry, none of them could explain how the Vanguard had done it. Their most advanced ships, outfitted with the finest alien technology, had been easily destroyed by a ship that was centuries behind them. How did they do it? General Threx growled, slamming his fist on the table. How did such primitive beings manage to outmaneuver us? The council fell silent, each alien race lost in thought. Their galaxy had always been one of domination and control, a place where the strongest ruled, and the weaker species cowered in fear. But now they were faced with an enemy they didn't understand, and that terrified them. As Threx brooded, one of the commanders spoke up. "Perhaps we have underestimated humanity's potential. Their ships may be old, but they are no less dangerous. We need to strike at their core, destroy their strength." Threx nodded grimly. "I agree. We will send our best forces to wipe them out. If we strike fast, we can catch them off guard." The plan was set into motion. Within hours, a massive alien fleet was mobilized, ready to launch an assault on Earth, where the Vanguard had come from. Their objective was simple: destroy the source of the threat before it could grow any stronger. The galaxy would see that the Galactic Alliance could not be challenged. Meanwhile, on the Vanguard, Admiral Williams stared out into the stars, deep in thought. The battle had been a success, but he knew it wasn't over. He had a sinking feeling that the aliens wouldn't take their defeat lying down. His crew had proven themselves in battle, But this would be a different kind of fight. The enemy wasn't just going to retreat. They were going to come back stronger, angrier, and more determined than ever. Admiral, his first officer, Lieutenant Sarah Cole, spoke up. "We've detected movement. The aliens, they're gathering again. A larger fleet this time." Williams turned to her, his expression grim. "How many?" "At least 20 times the size of the fleet we destroyed," she replied. "They're coming for Earth." The room fell silent as the weight of the news sank in. The aliens were mobilizing for a full-scale invasion. Earth wasn't just under threat, it was the target. Williams knew the odds were against them, but he also knew they couldn't back down. Humanity had made its stand, and there was no turning back now. "We need to prepare," Williams said, his voice steady but firm. "We don't know what we're up against, but we'll face it together. All hands to battle stations." The crew sprang into action, each person moving with purpose. The Vanguard wasn't just a warship. It was a symbol of humanity's resolve. It was a beacon of hope for a species that had long been dismissed as weak and insignificant by the other races in the galaxy. As the hours passed, the Vanguard prepared itself for another fight. The crew worked tirelessly, checking weapons, fine-tuning shields, and running simulations. They knew they couldn't rely on sheer firepower alone. The first battle had been won by strategy, not strength. If they were going to stand a chance against the alien fleet, they would need to outsmart them once again. Meanwhile, the alien fleet continued its advance, each ship bristling with weapons and shields. General Threx had personally overseen the preparation of the fleet, determined to make sure this time they wouldn't be outmatched. They would show the humans what true power looked like. The two forces were closing in, the tension building with every passing minute. The Vanguard remained a speck in the distance, its lights flickering as it prepared for the inevitable. The alien fleet, massive and terrifying, loomed ahead, ready to crush the humans once and for all. But what the aliens didn't know was that the humans had a secret. The Vanguard was not alone. In the shadows of deep space, a fleet of human ships was silently gathering, waiting for the right moment to strike. It wasn't just one ship this time. The Vanguard was part of a much larger, hidden armada, one that had been slowly built in secret. As the alien fleet approached Earth, they were confident in their victory. But what they didn't realize was that the humans had already begun to move. The tide of war was about to shift once again. Admiral Williams watched the alien fleet grow larger on the screen, his expression unchanging. "Let's show them what humanity can do," he whispered, as the crew stood at attention, ready for whatever came next. The battle for Earth was far from over. It had only just begun. The first encounter had been a shock. But the second, this time, the aliens would learn the full extent of humanity's strength. The vastness of space was a harsh reminder of how small humanity had once seemed in the grand scheme of the universe. Yet, as the Vanguard stood poised against the incoming alien armada, it felt as though all of humanity was watching. Earth's survival depended on this moment. The aliens had come for them once again, and they had not forgotten the humiliation they suffered at the hands of a single human warship. This time, they were determined to finish the job. But what they didn't know was that this was no longer just about one ship. The Vanguard was only the beginning. Admiral Williams stood silently on the bridge of the Vanguard, his eyes focused on the immense alien fleet ahead. They had come with everything they had, hundreds of ships, each more formidable than anything humanity had ever faced. Their weapons glowed ominously as they closed in on Earth, but Williams was not afraid. He knew that they had a secret weapon, one the aliens could never anticipate. This battle would not be decided by numbers or power. It would be decided by strategy. "Captain Cole," Williams said quietly, his voice calm but resolute, "prepare the fleet." Lieutenant Sarah Cole, standing next to him, gave a sharp nod. "Aye, Admiral. The fleet is ready for deployment." In the shadows of deep space, the fleet of human warships waited in silence, each one hidden in the folds of darkness. each one a whisper in the vast emptiness. The Vanguard had led the way, but now it was joined by others. Ships that had been built in secret, ships that had been hiding in the void, waiting for this moment. Their sleek designs, though simple, were armed to the teeth with weapons that no alien ship had ever seen before. They had been outfitted with the latest human technology, and they had been prepared for one reason only: to defend Earth. As the alien fleet advanced, a single message was broadcast across the stars. It was a message that would forever change the galaxy. We are humanity. We are not the weaklings you once thought we were. We will fight to the end, and we will make you regret ever crossing us. It was a simple message, but one that carried the weight of humanity's fury and resolve. The aliens, still stunned from their previous defeat, hesitated for a moment. They had never heard such defiance from a species they had deemed insignificant. But it was too late to turn back now. The battle began in a blaze of light. The alien fleet opened fire, launching a barrage of energy blasts that illuminated the darkness of space. But the Vanguard and the newly deployed fleet of human ships were ready. Their shields shimmered in the light, deflecting the alien fire with ease. The first salvo had been nothing more than a test. The aliens had no idea that their every move was being anticipated, every attack countered before it even landed. The Vanguard shot forward, its weapons firing with deadly precision. Laser beams cut through the alien ships, each one exploding into a cloud of debris and sparks. The alien ships retaliated, but their shots were erratic and poorly coordinated. The human fleet was too fast, too organized, and far more deadly than they had imagined. General Threx watched the battle unfold from his flagship, his eyes wide with disbelief. "How are they doing this?" he growled, fury creeping into his voice. "How are they able to evade our fire so easily?" His officers scrambled, trying to calculate the source of the human advantage. But there was no simple answer. The humans had developed tactics that no one had ever seen before: hit-and-run strategies, feints, and ambushes that left the alien fleet in chaos. The human ships were like ghosts, slipping in and out of view, striking before the aliens could even react. The battle raged on, and with every passing moment, the balance of power began to shift. The once proud alien fleet was being slowly, methodically dismantled by the human armada. The aliens had underestimated their enemy. They had thought the Vanguard was a fluke, a mere anomaly in the grand scheme of war. Now they realized just how wrong they were. Admiral Williams watched the destruction unfold from the bridge of the Vanguard, his face stoic. He knew this was only the beginning. The aliens were not going to give up so easily. But he also knew that humanity had something that no one else had: a burning desire to survive, and a willingness to do whatever it took to protect their home. "Stay focused," Williams said to his crew. "We've only won the first round. This is a war, not a battle. Let's make sure they know we're not just defending our planet. We're showing the galaxy what humanity is capable of." As the battle continued, the alien ships began to retreat. One by one, they turned tail and flowed into the vastness of space, their once mighty fleet broken and shattered. The human ships had done what no one thought possible. They had driven the aliens away. But the humans knew this wasn't over. The alien fleet would regroup, and they would come back with even more force. But humanity was ready. They had already proven that they could fight back, and now they were prepared for the next wave. The message had been sent. The aliens had learned that humanity would not bend or break. They would not be the easy prey the aliens had assumed. The galaxy would now watch, waiting to see what humanity would do next. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Admiral Williams stood tall, a symbol of human strength. He looked out at the stars, knowing that the battle was far from over. But for the first time, humanity had a chance to make its mark on the galaxy, a mark that would never be erased. "We've won this round," he said quietly, "but we're just getting started." The battle for Earth had ended, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy had only begun. The aliens had learned to fear them. Now, It was humanity's turn to show the stars just how far they would go to defend their home. The galaxy would never forget the day humanity rose to power. The silence of space was broken only by the hum of the Vanguard's engines as it drifted in the vastness, its crew still reeling from the surprise victory. Though the battle had been won, the threat of retaliation lingered in the air like an impending storm. The alien fleet, though in disarray, would not remain defeated forever. General Threx's pride had been wounded, and when it came to alien races, pride was a dangerous thing. The galaxy, it seemed, was about to learn a hard truth. Humanity was no longer the underdog. Admiral Williams stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back, staring out into the stars. The battle had been brutal, but the Vanguard and the human fleet had fought with an intensity and ferocity that the aliens had not anticipated. The pride of the Galactic Alliance had been shattered, but it was only a matter of time before they regrouped. They wouldn't be so easily defeated again. "Admiral," Lieutenant Cole spoke, her voice steady, but the concern in her eyes was unmistakable. "We've detected an anomaly. Another alien fleet is on its way. It's not just one fleet, Admiral, it's a coalition of races this time. They've come to finish what they started." Williams closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the weight of the information to settle. He had known this day would come. It wasn't just about one battle or one victory. The human species had made an enemy of the most powerful forces in the galaxy, and they would not rest until they had eradicated humanity's threat. But Williams wasn't about to let Earth fall. Not now. Not ever. "How long until they arrive?" he asked, his voice calm. 3 days, Cole replied, her fingers dancing over the console. "It's a massive fleet, and there's no way to know what they've got in store for us this time." Williams nodded. "Prepare the fleet. I want every ship at full readiness. We're not just going to defend Earth. We're going to show them that they've made a grave mistake." The crew, despite their exhaustion, immediately sprung into action. The Vanguard was ready for the fight ahead. But it wasn't just the Vanguard anymore. Humanity's military might was now a force to be reckoned with. Ships that had been hidden, secreted away in the dark corners of space, began to power up, joining the Vanguard in their final stand. This was humanity's response to an alien empire that had underestimated them. This time, they would not be caught off guard. In the war room, Admiral Williams gathered with his senior officers. They pored over tactical data, analyzing the movements of the approaching enemy fleet. The coalition of alien races was unlike anything humanity had faced before. The alien ships were more advanced, their numbers overwhelming. But that was not enough to defeat humanity. "Gentlemen," Williams began, his voice cutting through the tension, "we've been through the worst of it. Now we make our stand. We've faced impossible odds before. We've proven we can win against overwhelming forces. We will do so again." The room fell silent, the gravity of Williams' words sinking in. This was not a battle for survival. It was a fight for everything humanity had fought for: their right to exist, to remain free, to prove that they were no longer the weak species others could trample on. Cole stepped forward. "Admiral, we need to consider the alien strategy. If they form this coalition, they may try to overwhelm us with sheer firepower. We should divide their forces, pick them off one by one." Williams nodded, already thinking several steps ahead. "Exactly. We'll use the Vanguard as the spearhead, draw them into a trap. We'll have our other ships hidden in the shadows, ready to strike when the moment is right. Their overconfidence will be their downfall." The plan was set into motion. The human fleet spread out, cloaking themselves as much as possible, and positioned themselves in key sectors of space. The Vanguard, its sleek form cutting through the stars, led the charge. Every ship was ready for the war to come, determined to show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. As the days passed, the tension on board the Vanguard grew. The crew knew what was coming. They could feel the weight of their mission, their responsibility to Earth, to humanity. The pressure was immense, but they would not falter. Their unity was their strength, and in this battle, that would be their greatest weapon. Then, on the third day, the enemy fleet arrived. Thousands of ships, each one more formidable than the last, emerged from the shadows of space. The coalition had arrived, and they wasted no time in unleashing their fury. "Admiral, they've entered range," Cole reported, her eyes glued to the console. "The battle begins now." Williams stood, his gaze steady. "All ships, engage the enemy. Remember, we are not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for our place in this galaxy. Show them humanity's strength." The Vanguard surged forward, its weapons blazing as it tore into the alien ships. The massive fleet had expected to overwhelm the humans quickly, but they had underestimated the ferocity of the human response. The Vanguard was no longer a single ship. It was a symbol of defiance, of humanity's refusal to be ruled by those who thought themselves superior. The alien ships fired back, their energy blasts lighting up the darkness of space, but the human fleet moved with precision, dodging and returning fire in kind. The Vanguard tore through the enemy's front lines, its advanced weapons cutting through the alien ships like a hot knife through butter. But the battle was far from over. General Threx, watching the battle unfold from the command center of his flagship, clenched his fists in anger. "This cannot be happening. How are they so strong? How are they holding their own against us?" He had expected a quick victory, a final strike to wipe out humanity for good. But what he didn't understand was the one thing that the humans had over them: resolve. The alien forces may have been technologically superior, but humanity had something the aliens could never comprehend: an unbreakable spirit. And that spirit, coupled with their ingenuity, was enough to turn the tide of the battle. The battle continued to rage across the stars, but this time, the aliens were no longer the ones in control. The human fleet, though smaller, fought with a passion and determination that the aliens could not match. One by one, the alien ships began to fall, their once imposing power crumbling before humanity's might. The aliens were not just losing ships, they were losing their confidence. They had expected to conquer Earth easily, but what they found instead was a force that refused to back down, a force that would fight to the very end. As the last of the alien ships retreated, a moment of stunned silence filled the space between the two fleets. The human fleet had won once again. They had proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they were a force to be reckoned with. The alien coalition had been driven back, and humanity had shown the galaxy that they were no longer weak. Admiral Williams stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, a sense of pride swelling within him. The battle had been hard-fought, but they had done it. The humans had emerged victorious, and the galaxy would never again underestimate them. "We've won," Williams said quietly, his voice steady. "Yes, Admiral," Cole replied, her eyes shining with pride. "We've shown them what humanity is capable of." The Vanguard and the human fleet turned back toward Earth, victorious but knowing that the struggle for survival was far from over. The galaxy would remember this day, the day humanity rose to take its place among the stars. But for now, Earth was safe. Safe because humanity had stood firm and shown the galaxy that they would never back down. The war was far from over, but one thing was certain: humanity had arrived, and the stars would tremble before them. The aftermath of the battle left a heavy silence in its wake, but the humans had earned something priceless: their survival and a newfound respect in the eyes of the galaxy. As the Vanguard and the remaining human ships drifted back toward Earth, the full scope of their victory began to sink in. It wasn't just a military win, it was a statement. A message had been sent to the galaxy, loud and clear. Humanity was no longer a fragile species, easily overlooked or dismissed. They were a force that could and would defend themselves. On Earth, the people celebrated, but their celebration was tempered with the knowledge that this victory was just the beginning. The fight wasn't over. General Threx and his coalition had been beaten back, but many others would try to take their place. It was only a matter of time before the alien powers who still looked down on humanity would decide to challenge them again. The galaxy was vast, and while humanity had made a name for itself, it was still just one species in a universe full of threats. Back aboard the Vanguard, Admiral Williams paced the command center, his mind racing through the next steps. Despite the victory, there was no time for rest. Intelligence reports flooded in, showing signs of other alien fleets massing on the fringes of human-controlled space. The fight was not over. The galaxy, it seemed, had just begun to take humanity seriously. "Admiral," Lieutenant Cole's voice interrupted his thoughts. "There's a transmission. It's from the Galactic Council." Williams stopped pacing, his hand hovering over the console. The Galactic Council, the very same organization that had tried to wipe humanity off the map, had now decided to make contact. It was no surprise, given their alliance with Threx, but the timing was unsettling. After everything that had happened, after humanity had proven their worth, the Council might want to offer something, either a chance for peace or a declaration of war. "Put it through," Williams ordered, settling into the captain's chair. The lights on the bridge dimmed as the holographic transmission flickered to life. A tall, slender alien appeared on the screen, with smooth blue skin and large, unblinking eyes that seemed to look straight through Williams. This was Klor, one of the highest-ranking diplomats in the Galactic Council, known for his calculated, emotionless demeanor. His voice, however, was as cold as the void of space. "Admiral Williams," Klor began, his tone polite but laced with underlying tension. "You and your species have made quite an impression. The defeat of the Coalition fleet was unexpected. The Council, however, recognizes that this victory, while significant, does not change the balance of power in the galaxy." Williams stared back, his face unreadable. The Council had sent their highest diplomat to address them. This was not a mere formality. "What is it you want, Klor?" Williams' voice was firm, unyielding. "We've made it clear that Earth will not be a subject of your council. We won't be enslaved or subjugated again." There was a brief pause, Klor's fingers steepling as he considered the human's words. "No, Admiral, you misunderstand. The Council does not seek to enslave Earth. We simply wish to ensure peace. After all, the galaxy is a vast place, and no one wishes for further bloodshed." Williams' jaw tightened. This was a game. The Council might not seek to enslave Earth outright, but they would certainly try to control it in other ways. The question was, how far would they go? If you truly sought peace, then why not cease your attempts to conquer us in the first place? Williams shot back, his voice growing sharper. Why send fleets to destroy us when all we've ever asked for is to be left alone? Klor's eyes narrowed, a slight flicker of irritation crossing his features. "You are no longer a small, insignificant species. Your success has altered the dynamics of the galaxy. The Council cannot simply ignore you now. The war with the Coalition was unfortunate, but necessary. The Council, too, must evolve in the face of your growing influence." The word hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The alien race had underestimated humanity, but now that they had seen what humans were capable of, the Council was recalibrating its position. They could no longer treat humanity like a backwater planet to be conquered and enslaved. Instead, they would have to find a way to integrate Earth into their galactic hierarchy, or crush it before it grew any stronger. The tension in the room was palpable. Williams could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He had faced battles, and he had led his people to victory. But this was something different. This was a battle of words, of politics, and in a way, it felt even more dangerous. If the Council's words were sincere, humanity could have a chance to grow and establish itself as a true galactic power. But if they were just another ploy to weaken Earth, to pacify it before the next attack, then humanity would have to stand ready for another fight. "I'll tell you this, Klor," Williams said, his voice steady and resolute. "If you truly seek peace, you'll have to prove it. Earth will never kneel to your council or any other alien power. We'll negotiate from a position of strength, not submission. You will respect us, or you'll face the consequences. For a moment, Chlor's expression was unreadable, the silence stretching on. Then, slowly, he nodded. "We shall see, Admiral," Chlor replied. "We shall see." The transmission cut off, leaving a lingering sense of unease in the room. Williams turned to his crew, who were all watching him with a mixture of hope and apprehension. The moment of peace, of negotiation, might have come, but there was no guarantee. They had won battles, but the war was far from over. The galaxy still didn't understand humanity, and until it did, humanity would remain vigilant, always ready to fight for its place in the stars. Admiral Williams rose from his chair, a sense of resolve settling over him. "Prepare for what comes next. We don't know if peace is possible, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that humanity never backs down from a challenge. We'll be ready for whatever they throw at us." The crew nodded in agreement, their determination unwavering. No matter what happened next, Earth had proven that it was no longer a species to be underestimated. They had shown the galaxy their strength, and they would continue to do so, standing tall in the face of whatever was to come. The vanguard would continue its journey, and humanity would not be swayed by the whims of alien empires. The war was far from over, but one thing was certain: humanity had made its mark. And no matter the challenges ahead, they would stand firm, ready to face whatever the galaxy threw their way. The universe, still reeling from the shock of humanity's unexpected rise, seemed to hold its breath. As the Vanguard and its accompanying fleet made their way through the depths of space, the shadows of the unknown loomed large. The Galactic Council's anger was barely concealed, but they had learned one invaluable lesson. Humanity would not bow. Yet, in the silence of space, another truth began to unfold. The galaxy was vast, and for all their victories, humanity had barely scratched the surface of what was out there. There were other factions, other races, who had been watching the events unfold from the shadows. And now, the time had come for humanity to find its place among them, not as a fledgling species, but as a force to be reckoned with. In the command center of the Vanguard, Admiral Williams stared at the tactical holograms flickering before him. The reports of enemy movements had increased. The threat from the Council had grown clearer, but it wasn't just them. There were other alien factions, some larger and more powerful than the ones humanity had already faced, that were preparing to test their strength. The question was no longer if humanity would survive. It was whether they could build a coalition of their own before the galaxy's giants could decide to make an example of Earth. "Admiral," Lieutenant Cole's voice broke through his thoughts. "We've detected a transmission. It's from an unregistered fleet. Our sensors can't make sense of it. The design is nothing like anything we've seen." William's pulse quickened. Unknown fleets were always dangerous. They could be allies or enemies, but the lack of recognition made it hard to tell. "Put it through," Williams ordered, as the crew around him tensed. A new presence in the galaxy meant that the balance of power could shift dramatically. The transmission flickered to life, revealing a vast alien warship. Unlike anything they had encountered before, it was sleek, with sharp angles and a deep red hue that seemed to shimmer against the stars. The ship's design was an odd combination of organic curves and mechanical precision. There was a chill in the room as all eyes were on the screen. A figure appeared, tall, imposing, their skin covered in dark, almost metallic scales. Their eyes glowed a faint, eerie blue, and their voice was deep and gravelly. "I am Commander Xelrith of the Rakan Empire," the alien said, his tone calm but firm. "I come on behalf of the Rakan people. We have been watching your rise with great interest, Admiral Williams. You and your people have shown an ability to survive what many in the galaxy believed impossible. This has earned you a degree of respect." Williams stood tall, a flicker of hope coursing through his veins. An unknown empire was extending an olive branch, or was it? The Rakan were a race of ancient warriors known for their cold logic and unparalleled military strategies. If they were extending an offer, it could be for an alliance, or perhaps a test of strength. We didn't expect humanity to rise so quickly, Selrith continued, his eyes never leaving the screen. But now, it is clear that you are not a species to be taken lightly. The Galactic Council's weakness in dealing with you has forced us to reconsider our position. Williams didn't lower his guard. What is it you want, Commander? I'm not interested in another empty offer from a power-hungry empire. The commander's expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of amusement in his eyes. What we want, Admiral, is simple. The Rakan Empire seeks an alliance with humanity. We recognize your potential, your strength. Together, we could reshape the balance of power in this galaxy. The room fell silent. The idea of an alliance with the Rakan was tempting. Too tempting, perhaps. Their advanced technology and vast resources could tip the scales in humanity's favor. But what was the cost? What did the Rakan want in return? And what would we have to give in return? Williams asked, narrowing his eyes. We're not here to be pawns in someone else's game. Selrith's eyes gleamed as if he had expected the question. Your people have shown us that they are capable of greatness. In return, we offer you the Rakan fleet's support, along with our technology and guidance. The galaxy respects strength. With our alliance, the Council, and all those who stand against you will be forced to rethink their strategy. It was a tempting offer, one that could ensure humanity's survival and provide them with an army to challenge any who would threaten Earth. But there was always a catch. In the galaxy, nothing was ever truly free. Williams could sense the weight behind the offer. The Rakan had their own motives. Was this truly an alliance, or was it a way to manipulate humanity into becoming a tool for the Rakan's own ambitions? Give me a moment, Williams said, holding up his hand as the room went silent. He turned away from the screen, signaling to his senior officers. This isn't a decision we make lightly. We need to think this through. As the officers huddled around, the air was thick with tension. On one hand, the offer could save countless lives. On the other, it could tie humanity to an empire with its own agenda. What if the Rakan decided humanity's value lay in their strength alone, using them as soldiers in a war they weren't prepared to fight? What if we accept? Asked Lieutenant Cole. What if this alliance could give us the edge we need? We could end the war before it even starts, Admiral Thorne added. But we'd be indebted to them, and I don't trust anyone who asks for that kind of power without a price. Exactly, Williams said, his voice low. There's always a price. We can't afford to risk becoming someone else's weapon. The galaxy has underestimated us, but we fought hard for our freedom. And that's something we can't lose. But even as he said it, Williams knew the decision was not simple. The Rakan were powerful. Their help could turn the tide in the coming battle. But what if their help came with strings attached? Could humanity afford to trust them? Or was this just another faction trying to manipulate them into submission? Minutes passed, and the crew continued to debate, the weight of the decision pressing down on them all. Finally, Williams turned back to the screen. Commander Selrith, your offer is noted, but we will need more time to consider it. We cannot make such an important decision without fully understanding what you are asking of us. The Rakan commander's expression remained unchanged, but his eyes flashed with a hint of annoyance. Very well, Admiral. But understand this. The galaxy does not wait. Opportunities like this are fleeting. The Rakan do not offer their alliance lightly. Consider your decision wisely. The transmission ended abruptly, and the bridge fell into a deep silence. The crew knew what was coming. There was no easy path ahead. The Rakan might offer an alliance, but at what cost? Admiral Williams took a deep breath, his mind already turning over the possibilities. The galaxy was vast, and humanity had just begun to understand the dangers it held. But there was one thing he was sure of. Whatever came next, humanity would not back down. They had already shown that they were capable of surviving the impossible. Now they would show the galaxy that they were capable of standing tall, no matter what the cost. The Vanguard powered forward, ready for the next chapter of the fight for humanity's place in the stars. And as the crew prepared for whatever came next, they all understood one thing: the galaxy would never again underestimate Earth.